Hello friends, today we are going to learn about the topic virtualization. What virtualization is, what are the types of virtualization, its advantages and disadvantages. Virtualization. What virtualization is? Virtualization strictly refers to abstraction of computing resources using virtual machines. Abstraction means you have a single physical machine to which several virtual machines are created, and we are using that particular resource at some distinct levels, using or considering it as a different machine. Software implementations of machines that execute programs as if they were separate physical machines. We have already understood or learned about it. Virtualization allows multiple operating systems to be executed simultaneously on the same physical machine. See, we have seen we have a single physical machine. Now we are being played, or several virtual machine is being created with that single physical machine. Say for example, I have this physical machine 1 and I have created 4 virtual machines out of it. So the user here will be using this virtual machine and a single physical machine, but it appears to every user that it is using a different physical machine. This is virtualization. Virtualization and the dynamic migration of virtual machine allow cloud computing to make the most efficient use of currently available physical resources. Virtualization at its core is the ability to emulate hardware via software. If we walk through the processes, some form of operating system still needs to be booted from the hardware. This may be a full-blown operating system such as Linux or Windows, or it may be stripped down as operating systems specifically designed to provide virtualization. That means virtual machines also have their own operating system, a full-blown operating system like the Linux, Windows, Mac OS, etc. Virtual machines have become the prevalent abstraction and the unit of deployment because they are the least common denominator interface between service providers and developers. Virtualization is the key support mechanism to enable infrastructure as a service. Now, what is infrastructure as a service? Infrastructure as a service is the pool of resources or shared pool of resources. They have a single physical resource. That single physical resource is being distributed among the various platform as a service or various users to use it. What do? They do virtualization with that physical machine or physical resources. As we have seen earlier, one physical machine can be multiplied to several or can be transformed to several virtual machines. This virtual machine acts as a single physical machine for the user who is using it. So this particular thing, that user is using a physical machine which is one, but it appears as every user is using a different physical machine with the help of virtualization. In the following section, we will briefly discuss the various types of virtualization. They are: first one is the network virtualization, second one is the storage virtualization, server virtualization, next is desktop virtualization, another one is the application virtualization. Now, the current state of the art technology in cloud computing is focused on the virtualization of resources at the lowest level. Virtualization of the resources at the lowest level, that means at the physical level where the physical machines or physical resources are being placed. Another thing is the main technology enabling virtualization is hypervisor. Hypervisor is a technology, that means this is the physical machine. Now, with the help of hypervisor, this physical machine is being converted into virtual machines. A virtual machine manager that partitions a physical host transparently via emulation or via hardware assisted virtualization through a layer of abstraction. This design provides a simulated hardware environment known as virtual machine in which a guest operating system can execute. There are several benefits of using virtual machines. When several servers are used inefficiently, hardware can be merged and provisioned as needed, enabling the organizations to reduce the cost of hardware. Now, here, this point explains that there are several hardware. What we are using in infrastructure as a service is shared pool of resources. So, this shared pool of resources is several hardwares which are not used to their full capacity. So, these hardwares are then merged to form a shared pool as needed, and then enabling the organization to reduce the cost of that particular hardware. Virtual machines can easily be migrated from one physical location to another as the need arises. That means the mobility of virtual machine is easy as compared to the physical machines. There are no limitations on the availability of software which can be installed into virtual machine images. Virtualization in cloud computing is making a virtual platform of server operating systems and storage devices. This will help the user by providing multiple machines at the same time. It allows also sharing single physical instance of resources. Single physical instance means that physical machine, if virtual machine 1 is using this physical machine, then the instance which this machine is using is single, and this machine is only using that particular instance. At the same time, it also allows sharing a single physical instance of the resource or an application to multiple users. Cloud virtualization also manages the workload by transforming traditional computing and make it more scalable, economical, and efficient. Virtualizations in cloud computing rapidly integrating the fundamental way of computing, that is the most basic way of computing. It is integrating with the cloud computing. Virtualization is helping it to integrate with the cloud computing. Another one of the important feature of virtualization is that it allows sharing of applications to multiple customers and companies. That means if I have an application, if I am using it in physical machine, so that physical machine only one person or one user can access. Now, since cloud computing follows the principle of multi-tenancy, so in multi-tenancy, that means in a single machine there are multiple tenants. All these multiple tenants wants to use the application which is there on the cloud or infrastructure physical machine. So this virtualization or virtual machine helps those multiple tenants to use this application simultaneously. Cloud computing can also be known as services and application derived to help the virtualized environment. This environment can either be public environment or a private environment. With the help of virtualization, the customer can maximize the resources and reduce the physical system which is in need. Another thing is virtualization. Virtualization is the ability which allows sharing the physical instance of single application or resource among multiple organizations. Now we have seen before it shares single application to multiple user multi-tenancy. Now between multiple organizations and users also. Other thing is this technique is done by assigning a name logically to all those physical resources and provides a pointer to those physical resources based on demand. over an existing operating system and hardware, we generally create a virtual machine which, and above it, we run other operating systems or applications. This is called hardware virtualization. Now, as we know, there are different types of virtualization. So one is the hardware virtualization. What we do in hardware virtualization is, there is an existing operating system and there is an existing hardware. We generally create virtual machine for that hardware. This is the hardware. We create a virtual machine for this hardware which is above it, and it is running other operating systems and application. See, this physical machine, it is running operating system 1, it has hardware 1. Now hardware is the same, we are not having another hardware, but by creating virtual machine, this virtual machine might be running operating system 2 and this virtual machine might be running operating system 3. So it is not necessary that if in a particular physical machine we are creating virtual machines, so the operating system which is in the physical machine, that operating system should also operate on those virtual machines. There can be other operating systems also which can be running on the virtual machines which is created using the single physical machine. This is called hardware virtualization. Virtual machine provides a separate environment that is logically distinct from its underlying hardware. Here, the system or the machine is the host and virtual machine is the guest machine. That means the system on which the machine, or I could say the hardware virtualization is performing on which machine, it is the host machine, and virtual machine which is running on that physical machine or the hardware is the guest machine. This virtual environment is managed by a firmware which is termed as hypervisor. That hypervisor helps to create virtual machines. This is the diagram which shows the virtualization. See, we have a hardware, host operating system, or I could say the bootstrap, and then we have this hypervisor. Now, with the help of this hypervisor, we create several virtual machines. There are several approaches or ways to virtualizers cloud services, which virtualizes cloud services. One of them are, first one is the grid approach. What happens in grid approach? Where the processing workloads are distributed among various or different physical servers and their results are then collected as one. Another one is the OS. The OS level virtualization, here multiple instances of an application can run in an isolated form on a single operating system. Third one is the hypervisor based virtualization, which is currently the most widely used technique. That means most companies who are going for virtualization, they are using this hypervisor technique. With hypervisor virtualization, there are various sub-approaches to fulfill the goal to run multiple applications and other loads on a single physical host. A technique is used to allow virtual machines to move from one host to another without any requirement of shutting down. This technique is termed as live migration. Another technique is used to actively load balance among multiple hosts to efficiently utilize those resources available in a virtual machine, and the concept is termed as distributed resource scheduling or dynamic resource scheduling. Now, virtualization is the creation of virtual, other than actual, version of something such as a server. That means if I have a physical server, I can create a virtual server, a virtual desktop, a storage device, an operating system, or a network resources. In other words, virtualization is a technique which allows to share a single physical instance of a resource or an application among multiple customers and organizations. It does by assigning a logical name to a physical storage and providing a pointer to that physical resource when demanding or demanded. That means, see, I have a physical machine. Now, to that physical machine, I am creating a logical name for particular physical storage and providing a pointer to that physical resource. When I am pointing a pointer to that physical resource, when the demand is arised from the consumer or customer. The concept behind virtualization. Now, creation of a virtual machine over existing operating system and hardware is known as hardware virtualization. We have discussed before. A virtual machine provides an environment that is logically separated from the underlying hardware. Now, logically separated from underlying hardware means that is physically it is not separated. That means you are accessing the same physical machine which is present there, but logically it is a new machine or a different machine which a user is accessing it. The machine on which virtual machine is going to create is known as the host machine, and the virtual machine is referred to as the guest machine. That means the physical machine on which we are going to create a virtual machine is known as the host machine, and the one which is created or we have the virtual machine is known as the guest machine. Virtualization is a technique how to separate a service from an underlying physical delivery of that service. It is the process of creating a virtual version of something like computer hardware. Virtual version of something, that means if I have a certain hardware or a pool of hardware, I am using it, but I want several other tenants to use it to the full capacity of that hardware. So what I'll do is I'll create the virtual version of it. That means it will appear to every user that it is accessing similar or different physical machines, though it is accessing the same physical resources. This is called virtualization or virtual version of hardware. It was initially developed during the mainframe era. It involves using specialized software to create a virtual or software created version of a computing resource rather than the actual version of the same resource. With the help of virtualization, multiple operating systems and applications can run on a same machine and its same hardware at the same time, increasing the utilization and flexibility of hardware. In other words, one of the main cost-effective, hardware reducing, energy saving techniques used by cloud computing is virtualization. Virtualization is a technique which allows to share single physical instance. Now, single physical instance, we have learned before what is single physical instance of a resource or an application among multiple customers and organization at one time. It does by assigning a logical name to a physical storage and providing a pointer to that physical resource on demand. The term virtualization is often synonymous with hardware virtualization, which plays a fundamental role in effectively delivering infrastructure as a service solutions for cloud computing. Moreover, virtualization technologies provide virtual environment for not only executing application but also for storage, memory and networking. See, for virtualization, now we have server hardware, host operating system and hypervisor. Hypervisor is virtualizing the server hardware and host operating system. So it has guest operating system in virtual machines, then it has some of the libraries which is known as binary libraries, and then the applications running on this virtual machine or virtual system. The machine on which the virtual machine is going to build is known as the host machine and the virtual machine referred to as the guest machine. How virtualization work in cloud? Virtualization plays a significant role in cloud technology and its working mechanism. Usually, what happens in the cloud is the users not only share the data that are located in the cloud, like an application, but also it share the infrastructure which is present there in the cloud with the help of virtualization. Virtualization is used mainly to provide applications with standard versions for cloud infrastructures customers, and with the release of the latest version of the applications, The providers can efficiently provide that application to the cloud and its user, and it is possible using virtualization only. By the use of this virtualization concept, all servers and softwares other than cloud providers required those are maintained by a third party, and the cloud provider pays them a monthly or yearly basis. That means by the virtualization concept, all the servers and the softwares of the cloud providers or other cloud providers require those maintained by a third party. Third party, that means not the vendors, not the clients, but the third party. Okay, and the service provider or the cloud provider pays them a monthly or a on yearly basis. In reality, most of the today's hypervisors make use of a combination of different types of hardware virtualization. Many virtualization means running multiple systems on a single machine but sharing all resources, hardware, and it helps to share IT resources to get benefit in the business field. Difference between virtualization and cloud. Now, how virtualization is different from cloud computing services? First thing is, essentially there is a gap between these two terms. Though cloud technology requires the concept of virtualization, but virtualization is a technology, it can also be treated as a software that can manipulate hardware. Whereas cloud computing is a service which is the result of manipulation. Virtualization is the foundation element of cloud computing, whereas cloud technology is the delivery of shared resources as a service on demand via internet. Cloud is essentially made up from the concept of virtualization. Now, advantages of virtualization. The number of servers get reduced by the use of virtualization concept. That means we need not to build up several data centers for the every user or for per user. We can have one data center for maximum users to use it to the full capacity of the hardware resources. Next point is the improve the ability of the technology. Another one, the business continuity also raised due to the use of virtualization. It creates a mixed virtual environment. Mixed virtual environment means it is the combination of the physical and the virtual environment. Increased efficiency for development and test environment. Lowers total cost of ownership. Other point is features of virtualization. What does features of virtualization include is partitioning. It is the first point. Multiple virtual servers can run on a physical server at the same time. Thus, with the help of partitioning, we can partition the physical server or data center storage space which we have, the hardware resources which we have, and then multiple virtual servers can run simultaneously on that single physical server or machine. Another one is the encapsulation of data. All data on the virtual server, including boot disk, is encapsulated in a file format. Another one is isolation, the third one. The virtual server running on the physical server are safely separated and do not affect each other. Hardware independence is the next point. When the virtual servers runs, it can migrate to different hardware platform. That is, it is not confined to a single physical or hardware platform. It can migrate from one physical platform to another physical platform. Virtualization refers to the running multiple virtual computers or virtual machines inside a single physical computer. While the basic idea of virtualization is old, dating back to mainframe computers in 1960s, it has become mainstream only in the last 10 to 15 years. Today, most new servers which we use are virtualized. Hypervisor is the operating system running on actual hardware. That means they are not logical. They are running on the physical machine. The hypervisors are running on the physical machine or physical servers which we have. Virtual machines run as processes within this operating systems. Sometimes the hypervisor is called domain 0 or DOM 0. Virtual machine is a virtual computer running under a hypervisor. Container is a lightweight virtual machine that run under the same operating system instance, or we can say kernel, as the hypervisor. Essentially, a container is nothing but a group of processes with their own namespace for process identifiers, etc. Virtual network is a logical network within a server or possibly extending to multiple servers or even multiple data centers. Virtualization software is a software that implements virtualization on a computer. It can be a part of an operating system or a special version of an operating system or an application software package. Why we need to virtualize? Virtualization drivers in recent years have included more powerful hardware allowing each machine to run multiple applications simultaneously, pressure to lower IT cost and simplify IT administration, need to manage large scale installations and clusters such as server farms, improved security, reliability, scalability, and device independence. Ability to mix multiple operating systems on some hardware or same hardware. How virtualization works. Now we have seen the concept, why we have to virtualize. Now how this virtualization works. Virtualization in cloud computing is a process in which the user of cloud shares the data present in the cloud, which can be application software or which can be application or applicable to the software, etc. It provides a virtual environment in the cloud which can be software, hardware, or anything else. In virtualization, the server and the software application which are required by the cloud providers maintained by third party, and in this the cloud provider provides or pays some amount to the third party. It is done because it will be costly if a new version of an application is released and it has to be introduced to the customers. It can also be explained in a way that with the help of hypervisor, which is the software the cloud customer can access server. A hypervisor is connectivity between server and the virtual environment and distributes the resources between different virtual environments. Now, there is traditional architecture versus the virtual architecture. This is the traditional architecture for data center and this is the virtual architecture. Here we have storage, we have network, server, network and storage. With virtual infrastructure, you can have applications, operating systems, and this is the virtual layer. So you can have various operating systems, various applications running over the same virtual layer, and then each user which is accessing that will have the experience of accessing the single physical unit or instance. Benefits of virtualization. Virtualization in cloud computing has numerous benefits. Let's discuss them one by one. Security, flexible operations, economical, eliminates the risk of system failure, flexible data transfer, and many more are the benefits of virtualization. First one is security. During the process of virtualization, security is one of the important concerns. The security can be provided with the help of firewalls, which will help to prevent unauthorized access and will keep the data confidential. Moreover, with the help of firewall and security, the data can protect from harmful viruses, malware, and other cyber threats Encryption process also takes place with protocols which will protect the data from other threats. So the customers can virtualize all the data stored and can create a backup on a server which the data can store. Next point is flexible operations. With the help of virtual network, the work of its professional is becoming more efficient and agile. The network switch implement today is very easy to use, flexible and saves time. With the help of virtualization and cloud computing, technical problems can solve in physical systems. It eliminates the problem of recovering data from the crashed or corrupted devices and hence save time. Since it has replication in it, that means virtualization provides the replication mirroring of the data. Thus, recovery of the data from the crashed or corrupted devices is possible and it hence save the time. Next point is economical. Virtualization and cloud computing save the cost for physical systems such as hardware and servers. It stores all the data in the virtual server, which are quite economical. It reduces wastage, decreases the electricity bills along with the maintenance cost. Due to this, the businesses can run multiple operating systems and applications in a particular server or the same server. Next point is it eliminates the risk of system failure. While performing some task, there are chances that the system might crash down at the wrong time. This failure can cause damage to the company, but the virtualizations help you to perform the same task in the multiple devices at the same time. This data can store in cloud. It can retrieve anytime with the help of any device. Moreover, there is two working servers side by side which makes the data accessible every time. Even if a server crashes with the help of the second server, the customer can access the data. Flexible transfer of data. The data can transfer to the virtual server and retrieve anytime. The customer or cloud provider do not have to waste time finding out hard drives to find data. With the help of virtualization, it will very easy to locate required data and transfer them to the allotted authorities. This transfer of data has no limit and can transfer to a long distance with the minimum charge possible. Additional storage can also provide and the cost will be as low as possible.